A compact SUV with 5 cylinders and 390 horsepower. Is this an older vehicle or petrolhead's dreamland? It is true, because Cupra is bringing the Formentor once again with the facelift as the VZ5 with the famous 2.5 liter 5-cylinder under the hood. And I can promise it will get really hot today. This was the first preview here from our closed track here today, special for you. And we'll tell you all you need to know about this one here, the Formentor in the facelift and as the special VZ5 version. How special is it? And should you go for this one here really instead of the 2-liter 4-cylinder? What are the main differences? And also news is that this one here for the first time also as right-hand drive versions. So our friends from the UK, New Zealand, Australia, they will also get some pieces of this one here. 4,000 pieces it's limited to. The most of that will probably come to the UK and Germany. Austria and Switzerland are also one of the bigger markets. And then some other markets will get, let's say, single pieces of that. But we'll give you a detailed tour as well. What's in the exterior and in the interior. And later, of course, closed circuit driving and also normal everyday driving live. And everything here with Thomas Nautical Fuel in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the front of the Formentor. In the facelift, VZ5 here is imprinted in the lower part here, in the lower bumper. This is special for this version. And you have here some carbon fiber inserts. This is a special carbon fiber package. Enceladus gray is this vehicle color. You have like a greenish note in that one. And the VZ5 also gets this wider wheel arches, so you have a bigger stance on the road, as well as 20-inch wheels here exclusively for the VZ5 and Akrapovic performance brakes. So usually even the VZ versions would stop at 19-inch wheels. The length here is 4.45 meters or 175 inches, and the Formentor compact SUV style. The Telemar would be the bigger brother. DCC, dynamic chassis control, the adaptive suspension is also standard here for the VZ5. There are still some options in the vehicle, so it's not like full options package, gotta say that. Then in the rear here, the facelift with a updated rear stripe goes all the way through, and this modern look here with the illuminated Cupra logo, VZ5 badge. And we have more of this carbon fiber pack here in the lower part, and you can see 4 exhaust tips, this special look here for the 5-cylinder. And then you might say, wait a minute, can I optionally get the Akrapovic exhaust? That one is, for example, available as an option, 4,000 euros for the VZ version with the 333 horsepower from the 4-cylinder. Here they said, theoretically you could go to Akrapovic, make the homologation with them, and then they put it, but they didn't plan it to make it like a works option, because they say they want the pure sound from the 5-cylinder. I can understand this argument. However, then some might say, maybe I go for the 4-cylinder version and then have a greater sound, because then I can directly pick the Akrapovic exhaust from works option. So yeah, definitely something to discuss. And here we need to discuss about the engine, of course. So the normal Formentor versions would come with the 1.5 TSI, 2-liter TSI, 2-liter TDI. You can also get a plug-in hybrid and so on. And the strongest 4-cylinder, as I said, 333 horsepower, 4.8 seconds in the acceleration figure. And this one here is at 4.2 seconds in the acceleration figure, 2.5 liters, 5-cylinder, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one here at 390 horsepower, 480 Newton meters of torque, and 4.2 seconds in the acceleration figure, so 0.6 seconds quicker than the quickest 4-cylinder version. All-wheel drive as well, and also looks quite cool. What do you think about it? It's a very unique proposal. You know that this is the Audi engine they are also using in the Audi RS3. And very important soon while driving, you know, this is a front wheel based platform. So the all-wheel drive is usually also front wheel biased, front plus rear on demand. However, this one here It's also for the VZ with 333 horsepower is also available. But here also with the VZ5, there's a rear torque distribution. And that means that you can, like for example, when you accelerate out of the corner, that you get more torque on the curve outer wheel. And that one will make it feel kind of rear biased, although it is actually not. You know what I mean? And this is something I will especially feel or present to you when we drive in a very agile way on our closed track today. This is the key fob. Yeah, some stickers on it for the driving event. Nothing special though. Then door closing sound. Solid, like that. Ooh, that's the stuff. You know, with the car enthusiast, I'm not only checking out exhaust notes, but also the door closing sounds. That's one of the signature Autogefühl moves. And then here, inside of the doors, top part is somewhat soft, a little bit and structured. Here's a little bit softer with the leatherette. Sennheiser sound system here, 12 speakers. Then hard pack at the inside of the doors, but at least we have a logical control unit, everything and so on. Then Cupra entry sill badge. There are also special floor mats with a leatherette design on the outside. This one also has Econile, so this is like a recycled material. Steering wheel perforation at the side, copper accentuations, contrast stitches on the inside. Not animal free available yet. What I found quite cool is here that we have the manual knobs and scroll wheels, classic control, starting the engine left side, pressing through the driving modes, or press and hold to directly go to the Cupra mode. Then this one here at the moment is equipped with the cup bucket seats. They are fabric on the inside, they have more shoulder support, they look really, you know, spectacular. They are produced by Sabelt, and they have this special, like, I don't know, like, it's like some harder accentuations on the fabric surface to make it like look more visually appealing. And they look indeed pretty cool. And this shoulder support in the top part is also really good for, you know, dynamic driving. However, they are stiffer from the seat surface, especially in the sit bone area. So I would go with the normal sport seats, which are already quite sporty and pretty cool. They are also then available with the Dynamica microfiber. It depends on the market. I could not get 100% confirmation yet if this one is standard for the VZ5 or if it's an option in the Extreme Pack. And the markets might also differ in that one. I would always get a Formentor without the cup bucket seats, but the normal sport seats for the best comfort. Then here, steering wheel up and down, in and out. You can find a good position. You can also shift yourself here with the driving pedals. Dual clutch transmission. And here I still have some headroom left. This is also a panoramic roof. You can actually also open still. Yeah, very rare these days on the market. And you can also apply a shade here. It's also electric available. And now to the cockpit. Looks really sporty and cleaned up. With the recent facelift, you get the 13-inch screen here, 12.9-inch to be very exact. You don't have physical dials here, but the sliders here for the temperature, at least you have these sliders and don't have to do everything in the screen. You can also plus minus in the screen, but sliding is a little bit easier, so to speak. Yeah, and then what I found quite cool is that you have like this structured dashboard right here. This is a nice structure you can actually feel. And also here that you have these, you know, like these edges here that make it like a crisp interior. Again, with the copper accentuations as the contrast stitches here. So I really like the design. The glove box here, we have it full of stuff at the moment. That's why it falls down really quickly. And then once again, the cup bucket seats. As I said, I would go for the standard sport seats, but they look amazing indeed. Middle console here, the side parts are some, like say, a little bit soft, again with the contrast stitching. Then you have inductive charging pad here. Is it also ventilated? Gotta find. Yeah. Yeah, it's also ventilated. I just had to look in detail. 2 USB-C chargers, however. This is here, by the way, ESC off button. They do have that. Don't use it on public roads, please. Pressing once is ESC Sport, and then pressing and holding it, that would be completely ESC off. But again, do not use that on public roads, please. ESC Sport would be needed to do the launch control we do or did there on the closed circuit. so you don't have to go ESC off there. I even drive on a racetrack not with ESC off. Here you could put the key fob. This is then for shifting backwards, and here this backwards and this forwards. Electric handbrake. Then the cup holders, you have different sizes, but they're not adaptive in itself. Here could be a little bit softer for your elbow, but you can adjust it forward and also here in the height, and then some more space here underneath with a 12-volt power supply. And I like that we have the classic interface at the steering wheel, really, with all the manual buttons for the cruise control and so on. And heated steering wheel is an option. You press one button and then that's it. And what I also like is that the digital instruments here, you can have this large RPM meter, really fancy, also from past Audi models, for example. So this would be my favorite view in the digital instruments as for that. And some more details to the screen. And here the main infotainment unit. What's important here, drives selection, but you can also do that then here with the button at the steering wheel. And as I said, you can click through individual driving modes like this. But if you are in the comfort mode or somewhere, let's see, let's show comfort mode, press and hold directly goes to the Cupra mode, or individual. I really like it. Here you can individually tune your DCC, adaptive suspension, all the way to comfort. But for example, steering to stiffer, to performance or Cupra, that's cool. And also important, if you slide down here, you can deactivate the EU speed chime and the attention warning and also the lane keeping assist. Rear seats, doors here, hard pack. This is a leatherette insert and hard pack again in the lower part. This is quite nice here in this, grayish color with the contrast stitches then in this copper tone. And then here we have also the cup bucket style for the rear seats. Isofix are there, the mounts, and then we can fold on this. Not adaptive, these cup holders, but feels like good build quality though. Anyways, this is the ski hatch. And then how's the comfort in the rear and the space. So here, it's actually decent comfort really, and 189, 6'2", still some headroom left. This one, the version with the panoramic roof, you can actually open. And it seems that these these sport seats really increase the legroom, so I can sit here as a tall L, have some more space. And in the lower part here now with the Facelift 2 USB-C chargers. Let's check out the trunk or the boot, because even if you go for performance driving, you want to use it in everyday driving life. And there we go here, a meter of 40 inches in width. This one here also fits underneath this cover. And then we can fold the seats here, 2/3, 1/3 split. The total length here is about 62 inches or 1.60 m, about that. So overall well usable. Then here underneath you can lift this one up. Not much space underneath because here we have the subwoofer. So yeah, this is then, usually just keep it in this place here all the time. Other versions, might have more space underneath than there when you don't have too much other equipment. Then you can also remove this one here. There we go. And this is then a total height of 70 centimeters or about 27 inches. And the normal length without folding here is about 80 centimeters or 32 inches. First we start with a closed circuit and let the engine do the talking a little bit. Of course I'll talk as well. Let's go. Woo! Oh, these performance brakes, they really hammer in. So don't wonder, again, closed circuit. So we're doing everything here legal, although it looks illegal. Wow. Good performance here from the 2-liter 5-cylinder engine. 390 horsepower, 480 Newton meters of torque, and 4.2 seconds is the acceleration figure instead of 4.8 seconds for the 2-liter 4-cylinder. So this is then the difference, 0.6 seconds. And you do feel that definitely. And really balanced here, all-wheel drive system. It's a really nice track we have here. One car in front of us as a lead car, somewhat as a pace car. And yeah, this really feels like a racetrack. And this neutral balance of this vehicle is really cool. Good steering feeling here out of the corner, and it doesn't shake much. DCC, adaptive suspension, keeping the car in check at the same time. it's still comfortable in driving. How does Leah feel?
But it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, it's fun. That's why the car is not too heavy. And you know, it's a compact SUV and it's just about the driving fun. And this compact SUV is not, as I said, not too heavy, rather short wheelbase, and you can just enjoy the ride, you know? So it doesn't push you in the corners. And I mean, I could theoretically go faster if this pace car would go a little bit faster, honestly. They just want to, you know, ensure our safety, of course. And wow, I mean, it almost feels like a race car. That's the cool thing. You can really race it around the corners. Nice sound here. Although I would have wished the Akrapovic exhaust, which is not available here for the VZ5. Look at that, how aggressive I can be. The glove box is opening. Oh, that's some stuff. Good grip here also from the tires. Wow, it's so much fun to put this one around. Woo! And we're already at 190 kilometers an hour. And oh, these Akrapovic performance brakes, they really perform very well, that you can also be sure that you can come to a stop again. And how does it behave on normal roads and also on the motorway? We're going to find out now. It's actually okay here with this speed hump starting in comfort mode. And also good here on the performance brakes to let way for pedestrians and doggos. Yeah, so it's also like a spirited animal in everyday driving life. Even in the comfort mode, this engine is really lively indeed. Steering also in comfort mode is pretty soft, but then you can also, of course, change the driving modes when you are also just cruising here around. For example, comfort mode, I could also set it to really soft suspension, for example, but yeah, maybe make the steering a little bit heavier. That's usually what I actually do. Here, for example, here steering to Cupra. So in this case, then I have set DCC all the way comfort, but steering with, wow, in the Cupra mode is really a lot of resistance from the steering. For Leah, that would be probably you know, a little bit annoying even. So Leah usually sets the steering to light resistance. I have set to a little bit more resistant, but you can really fine tune that. Performance then is a little bit less resistant than Cupra. Wow, we didn't expect that. At Cupra, the steering setting is really a lot of resistance for like nowadays perspective. That's really interesting. And well, I mean, even in the comfort mode, like how the engine reacts, it's still somehow like in the sporty mode for a normal engine. You know what I mean? And gotta say, if you are in the Cupra mode, it's almost impossible to drive it on normal roads because Leah is also going like, what is going on here? Yeah, when you put it in Cupra mode, it's almost undrivable in normal driving situations because you think like, okay, this is like really racetrack style, right? Yeah, gotta know that. The DCC here, by the way, does not have a different setup, the adaptive suspension, if you compare it with the adaptive suspension you have in the other VZ version. So it's not that they said, hey, let's go even stiffer here or something like that. It's also not really needed because the car also is not supposed to get uncomfortable from the suspension. The Formentor is a compact SUV, so it's also like right size and agile in normal driving life, so that's also fine. These bucket seats here, of course, when you do like this strong cornering and so on, then they hold you tighter. However, as I said, in the interior part as well, the seating depth, especially the sit bone area, is way stiffer than with the normal seats, which are already sporty and have this integrated head restraint. But this one here, really slimmer and harder. So you got to live with that, you know. So I would probably take a test seat at the dealers. If I would get a Formentor, I would always get the normal sport seats. And some countryside road, you can also just let it roll here a little bit, enjoy it a little bit. It's actually fine. So the suspension is doing a good job. You do have the 20-inch wheels here, so that makes the ride, of course, stiffer. The DCC is evening that out pretty well. Of course, if you have like a non-VZ5 version with a smaller wheels, then you would have a little bit more comfort as for that. Yeah, it's always about the wheel sizes. So if you ask yourself if you want more comfort or less comfort, you can always rule it a little bit with the wheel size you pick here. However, here again for the VZ5, 20-inch as standard to stress this sportiness of the vehicle, and it's really a lot of fun also just steering it around in normal driving life here, going on the motorway and so on. It's just a very, very good balance of the vehicle, and you can always, by the way, like press and hold, then you come again to the Cupra mode automatically instead of like clicking it individually through. And let's accelerate one more time on the motorway. Let's go. Yeah, it's really, really nice from the acceleration, and this 5-cylinder gives you like this very confident feeling. This 333 horsepower version from the 2-liter 4-cylinder is also pretty quick, definitely. But this one here with a cylinder more, with more displacement, just gives you this extra confidence, you know. Downside would be, of course, here you have a little bit more weight on the front axle in comparison to the 2-liter 4-cylinder. But I think it's more like a question of philosophy. And you can also here then click through the driving modes again if you want the more comfortable mode, for example. If you want to go back from the Cupra mode to the comfort mode, then things are also a little bit more relaxed. And while in the city, the engine feels almost a little bit nervous, always stressing that this, come on, race me. Here on the motorway, it's actually fine. The Formentor is not the most silent vehicle on the motorway, gotta say that. The Telamar, the bigger brother, is way more silent from this noise insulation. Gotta know that, you know. So the Formentor there feels a little bit more rough on the motorway sound-wise. So here already at 120 kilometers an hour, like 70 miles an hour, it is quite loud, gotta say that. But the driving behavior is once again really nice. It's very refined in how it handles. And the DCC is once again doing a good job in evening out the effect of the 20-inch wheels. This motorway is also quite well built, so I'm also fine with that. And it's really nice non-body movement, you know, so it always stays really calm and still. And you can also enjoy cruising at 120 kilometers an hour. And then also this higher displacement and one more cylinder is helping you in giving some kind of calmness, you know. So at higher speeds, the bigger engine gives you calmness. At lower speeds, especially with this setup here, and they keep the RPM kind of high in the city also, it sometimes makes you even a little bit nervous. But it's also a thing about this vehicle, you know, it kind of keeps pushing you, you know. So that's a funny thing. But here is very nice neutral feeling. Neutral, what do I mean by that? The car is very calm, and although it is a vehicle with rather, you know, it's not a really long wheelbase, you know, it's not a large vehicle, but still gives you like a very settled feeling on the road. And it is really about the driving fun. And even yet cruising 120 kilometers an hour on the motorway, you feel so connected to the vehicle. It's such a nice direct feeling that it's really a lot of fun also just to go around here on the motorway. That's really about this vehicle here. The focus is really on the driving fun. Wow, what a ride here today. That was so much fun. This is the thing about this vehicle here. It is so well balanced and so much fun. That's the cool thing. And yeah, super unique with the 2.5 liter 5-cylinder. And especially like this sovereign feeling it gives you, you know, when you're on the motorway, for example. Yeah, that is something really unique. However, the 2-liter 4-cylinder version with 333 horsepower is also pretty cool. Also has the rear torque split that really, you know, lets you forget that this is originally a front-wheel based platform. With this rear torque split, it really gets you the feeling that it's suddenly rear-wheel drive. You know, that's the special thing. And the handling is so balanced that it's so much fun, no matter if you go it for everyday driving life, motorway, or then if you push it a little bit harder, like we did here for you, exclusively for you here today. The question is, do you really need the VZ5? It's more like a philosophy thing, definitely. You also have to, you know, think about consumption. Will be some 10 liters on 100 kilometers, at least, you know, when you also push it a little bit. Yeah, but then also pricing wise, I mean, it's not that much more expensive if you compare to like a high spec version with the other specs and so on. I would say maybe check the configuration in your country, also how it is exactly available. It will be a unique piece, definitely, as I said, limited to 4,000 pieces, and it gives you this somehow extra boost because, you know, so many vehicles in this corporation have the 4-cylinder that this 5-cylinder is just the unique thing. As for the pricing, starts about 40,000 euros, the Formentor in general. And then if you go, let's say, for a VZ version with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but put everything in, like high spec, 6,000 euros, something like that. And then here for the VZ5, you'll be like 72,000 euros, something about that. Definitely expensive for a compact SUV, but for that you do get a compact racing SUV, indeed. What do you think about it? Tell me in the comments. And now also check out the 333 horsepower version, or maybe the recent VW T-Roc.